Happy New Year, Cherries fans, and welcome to this latest episode here on Up the Cherries in All Departments. Now, of course, we do take a break from the Premier League where we've been in fantastic form. Yes, we did lose against Spurs, but we didn't play too badly at all, did we? But we're playing in the FA Cup this weekend. And of course, we've got a trip to QPR and Loftus Road, a great ground to go to. And we're looking forward to seeing, of course, Asmir Begovic, maybe even Steve Cook. Don't know whether or not he's going to be making an appearance, but we shall see. But QPR are in a little bit of a struggle themselves. They are second from bottom in the Championship, have got some issues with FFP at the moment, and hopefully, fingers crossed, they will be able to pull themselves out of that and towards the right end of the table. There is one man, though, who we've had on before, who is a massive QPR fan. He is also a top referee. Refereed many, many Premier League matches throughout his career. You all know who he is. It is a pleasure to welcome back onto the show QPR fan Mark Halsey. Welcome back onto the show, Mark. How you doing?
Okay, thanks, Craig. Happy New Year to you. Hope you had a good Christmas. I know that we didn't at Loftus Road. So and your team are flying high, doing very well, aren't they? So it's good to see.
We did have that defeat, on New Year's Eve against Spurs, but at the same time.
But listen. You ain't had a bad Christmas, not like us. I mean, we had a great got a great point at Ipswich, put in a great performance, and then we go and play Cardiff, and we were absolutely garbage. So we need to step up to the plate and start getting some wins.
Well, what I wanted to do was touch on QPR because, as you know, a lot of people may or may not know, you are a QPR fan. You've supported the side since you were a little boy. So
absolutely, and it's devastating to see where we're at the moment. We've dropped into the bottom two after Sheffield Wednesday won at home to Hull, beat Hull 3-1. They seem to be scoring lots of goals, as do Rotherham seem to be scoring goals. They're bottom, they're catching us as well. So, Marty's got to do something. I know we're lacking in quality at the present. I know that could be down to FFP. So just hope that we can get 3 or 4 players in the transfer window and help us and get us climb up the league. But it's a mammoth task for us. But we also say we've got you guys on at the weekend in the FA Cup. It's a bit of a relief to step away from the league and just go out and see what we can do. Obviously, I don't think Cook could be playing. Obviously, played for you.
Yeah.
We missed him against Ipswich. We missed Willock and we missed Ilias Chair. So not sure if they're going to be fit on at the weekend. But if they aren't, then I think that I think you won't have too much problem in going through to the fourth round. But hopefully you have a problem. But the way that we're playing, we just don't seem to create anything. We don't seem to create any chances whatsoever. We just don't even look like scoring against Ipswich. We just didn't look like scoring. But then there was a couple of penalty decisions that went against us. I think there was an absolutely nailed on penalty for handball.
Yeah,
absolutely nailed on, straight in front of the referees, not give it. Okay, you go with that, and then obviously just before that, I think we could have had a penalty as well for a shove on one of our players. So, but listen, that's football. But hopefully, it will be an entertaining game at the weekend, and we'll see what if we can get a replay out of it. You never know. Or if we can get a win, that'd be great. But we don't seem to do well in cup competitions of late.
And I guess it's probably low on the priority list concerning, considering what you're having to go through at the moment at QPR and difficulties.
Yeah, I think, as I said, we're governed by the FFP. And, since Marty's come in from Gareth Ainsworth, I think he's done a terrific job. But, I think Gareth, bless him, tried to do his best. he's QPR through and through, and it just didn't work out for him. And perhaps we should have dispensed of his services earlier than we did. We just seen today that after 83 days, Birmingham City have sacked Wayne Rooney. So, but listen, we just got to improve the quality of our squad, and until we do that, then it's an uphill battle for us. And I think Martí knows that. It all depends on what we can do on loan moves to get players into the quality, especially up front. We need quality up front, and we just haven't got that at the moment.
I've got a little bit of a soft spot for QPR. It's one of my favourite away days.
It's a great football club. It's great. It's a great football club. I remember, obviously, I go back many, many years when my uncle used to live in Loftus Road, and funny enough, he now lives in Bournemouth, so he retired down in Bournemouth. But I used to come out of his house at 2 to 3, straight into the loft and watch QPR. I've got many, many, many great memories of watching the R's. Went Wembley twice with them in the FA Cup against Tottenham, where we lost after a replay. Oxford United in the League Cup, where we got spanked there as well. So, but no, it's just there's many good nights down at Loftus Road. But obviously living in Spain now and watching from afar, I can't get there as much as I'd like to. So, but no, listen, I just hope that if we can survive this year, and stay up in the Championship, and then I think we can go from strength to strength. But we only just survived last season with basically the same sort of squad, really. But we've got to, the board and everybody have got to back Martí and see where we end up at the end of the season. If we go down, we go down, and then we've got to start again with Martí. Leave him. You can't keep sacking managers, because we're not getting. It's the manager can only do what he can do with the squad he's got, and at the moment, the squad is just not good enough for the Championship.
I want to take it back actually to last season, Mark, because when you at the start of last season, you was being managed by Michael Beale, and to be honest,
doing very well.
Yep, did a very, very good job.
Good job. Then he left us to go to Rangers. He got sacked there. Now he's at Sunderland. I think we've got to play Sunderland. I hope he's going to have a soft spot for us and let us get 3 points when we play him.
But he got you to the top of the league, and you were looking really, really good. With effectively what you're saying is the same squad as what you've got at the moment.
Yeah, listen, look, I think we talk about refereeing later, and we talk about standards, and good coaches turn average players into good players, and good players into excellent players. So I think it's the coach, the head coach, or the manager, whatever we want to call him these days, they have a big part to play, and it's how they would do with their training sessions, and they motivate their players. And it is down to coaches and managers what they can get out of their players. Martí come in, got us some good results, but it seems to have gone a little bit sour at the moment. So he's got to give them a kick up the backside and get them playing. But I watched just against Cardiff yesterday, and it was just like watching paint dry with us, because we just didn't create anything. And then we give away 2 sloppy goals. I think had Cook been in there, I don't think perhaps they definitely wouldn't have got the first one, and possibly the second one, because they come from set pieces, they come from corners. And had Cook been in there, I think it'd have been more dominant and got his head to him and cleared it. But at the same time, we keep clean sheets, but we're not creating anything at the other end. And you've got to create chances and score goals to win games, and we just ain't doing that. And for me, that comes down to the manager, the head coach, or whatever you want to call them, and how they motivate and how they engage with the squad.
I know it might sound a little bit stupid to say this, because considering QPR's position at the moment, but focusing on Steve Cook there, and looking at the figures after Michael Beale left the club, of course, you had Neil Critchley before Gareth come in, and it all just seemed to go downhill from that point.
Yeah, I think Gareth was perhaps a panic appointment. To be fair, obviously QPR blue blood, QPR, he's through and through QPR, and it just didn't. It was a shame. It just didn't work out for him. And as I said before, I think we persevered with him for a little bit too long. So, and then we should have brought in somebody else to sort of put us on another footing and get better quality out of the players we've got. But obviously, it's not working, and we need to look at our finances, and we definitely need to get, as I said, I think most possibly 4 or 5 new players in with quality loans. Go around the Premier League, and the guys that are not playing or the guys not getting games, see if we can get a couple of loans, especially strikers. Absolutely, definitely need two strikers, definitely quality strikers up front.
Do you feel that Steve Cook, though, has kind of made you a little bit more solid at the defence when he's playing? He's made you a little bit more solid there. And what about Asmir Begovic?
Yeah, listen, look. I mean, Asmir's been superb. I know it was his fault for the goal yesterday. The second goal, he's come out in no man's land. If he stays on his line, that goal doesn't go in. But Steve he's been rock solid when he's played. I mean, I watched him against Ipswich, and he was superb. He was fantastic. Commanding, speaking, holding the defence together, and that's what you need. There's something that's like Van Dijk does for Liverpool. They're there. They know what's going on. They know the game. They know how to get players motivated. They know when to get involved, when not to get involved, when to make that challenge, when not to make that challenge, and engaging with their teammates, and geeing them up, and that's what you need. And as I say, when he's played, he was awesome against Ipswich, absolutely superb. And then obviously we definitely missed him against Cardiff, and then we missed Willock and Chair as well. But you take those three out of the team, and we are struggling, and I'm not sure they'll be playing on Saturday. So hopefully they are, but possibly not. Who knows? There could be a couple of clubs that have come in for Willock and Chair. Who knows? It's all quiet on that front. But we need to keep our best players. Yes, they say, we've got to sell players to bring in money so we can bring in other players. But why sell your two best players when you're in such dire straits where we are in the league?
With regards to the FFP situation at QPR, there's been a lot documented in the past about how maybe overspent.
I think you can go back to when I think Mark Hughes and Harry Redknapp were there, weren't they? I think it goes all the way back then. That's where we've struggled. But listen, to be fair, I mean the club have done remarkably well to stay where they are. But it's now catching up with us because it's now catching up with us. So sorry, that was the bit of interference there.
That's all right, Mark.
That's a yellow card for them too.
Yep.
So listen, we have done remarkably well to stay in the Championship after getting relegated. And as I say, it goes back years really, years in the making. So listen, just got to hope that we can get some investment from somewhere and help us. Just exactly what we need.
With regards to FFP, does it look like, if the spending is curbed this year and there's sales, and not of the best players, but of the players who might be able to command a fee, be able to bring a little bit of funds in, how long does this look like it's going to continue for if you stay in the Championship this year?
Well, hopefully, if we stay in the Championship, hopefully we could at the end, end of the season, perhaps we can get people in with investment and sign the players that we need. Because I think if we do get relegated, players ain't going to come and want to play in League One, are they? No. Premier League players that are on the fringe of first team and obviously Championship, good Championship players ain't going to want to come and play in League One. And if you are going to entice them, then you've got to up the wages for them to come and join your football club. And then you're like a merry-go-round, isn't it? So, But listen, we have to wait and see, and hopefully we can climb that table and just get a few players in. We've got to get a few players in. I think they know that. I think the manager knows that. I think the club know that. It's the finance resources. That's the problem we've got.
Well, fingers crossed you'll get out the relegation zone. And like I say, I want you to,
pray.
Yeah, pray.
Go on yours.
Hopefully, step by step, getting back to where you belong, which, let's be honest, is towards the top of the Championship in the Premier League. You've been there, one of the founding members as well.
Even my daughter's singing the song, about QPR yesterday when we got beat. Well, I said you can't shout because she's a Man United fan. So
I was just about to say that actually from the posters last time round.
Yeah, don't. She's a United fan. I've tried to get her to be a QPR fan, but she just won't have it. She should follow her dad's team. She should follow me. But obviously, she's born and bred in Bolton. She's it's only down the road from us, from Bolton. So she's a red. So I've tried to change her, but she won't listen to me. They don't, do they? Kids don't listen to their parents, do they? Hey?
No, exactly. I got that feeling myself, with my two. So yeah, I'm sure that. Well, I'm hopefully converting them into.
Well, anyway, look, at the weekend, it's a great game of football, and we're talking about football. Yeah. May the best team win, and so we're not talking about decisions by the referee. But one thing, there won't be no VAR.
Exactly. And that actually nicely brings me on to my next point, because I think it would be rude not to speak about VAR when you're on here. And there's a couple of topics actually I wanted to cover. So there's some statistics I've had a little look at as well. And these are actually on the ESPN website. And it's showing, the amount of decisions that have been overturned. Now, one of those is penalties awarded. It says 26. 8 of those were missed by the referees, which over the course of a season, is very, very small. It's very low.
Listen, that's their stats. That's the PGML stats, isn't it? So, listen, I beg to differ at that. There's been a lot more that have been missed and where VAR have not got involved. So, listen. I have to say, I think talking about VAR, I think we have a massive problem with VAR at the moment. It's so inconsistent. When they get involved and when they don't get involved, and for me, that's the big problem. They don't know when to get involved, and they don't know when not to get involved. And that comes down to the training and education. If we look at the same with challenges, serious foul play challenges, it's all over the place. Handball is a mess. It's a mess. It shouldn't be, because the law is simple. Was it a deliberate act? Was it a deliberate act? Was the defender's arm in a natural or unnatural position? Did he deliberately make himself bigger? Now, I honestly believe that the guys don't know what natural and what unnatural is in certain phases of play. That's a problem we've got. It's not the law. For me, it's not the law. It's understanding the law. It's understanding phases of play where your arms are in a natural position or where they're not in a natural position. And it comes down to the leadership and direction from the PGR management, the guys that are coaching the referees. And I'm sorry, I think at the moment, fans are just as important as anybody else in football. And I think everybody is confused. We're seeing a record number of yellow cards issued. And I think that's because players are not losing respect for the referee, but they're not. It comes with axing your decision making. And I think they're not happy with VAR. They're not happy with certain things that go on the field of play. And I think it's a must that referees must engage with the players. You've got to engage with the players. You've got to have that chat. You can't come across as though you're arrogant and you show that arrogance. We've got to show empathy for the game. And at the moment, I just don't think we're showing. Yes, we have got some natural referees. We've got some excellent referees, but I think it's the training, education, the leadership, and direction. I mean, if we had 22 Michael Olivers, we wouldn't be complaining, would we? Because I think obviously Michael is by far our best referee. Yeah. And listen, but we all make mistakes. Michael makes mistakes, but he doesn't make as many as the others and as the other referees. And if you look since the season started, week after week after week after week after week, we're seeing controversy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's down to the implementation of VAR, not knowing when to get involved and when not to get involved, and their application of deliberate handball.
See, the other thing as well with VAR for me is, and last time I was on here, Mark, I was moaning about decisions that went against Bournemouth. I'm going to play devil's advocate here and
But
mention
if
decision.
anyone's got a complaint, it's Gary O'Neill, isn't it? For Wolves.
Well, exactly,
You know.
exactly. You know,
Yeah,
the amount he's had.
I think the penalty you got to get was it? No, it was Luton. It was Luton. Was it? They got that handball. Was it Luton when? Yeah, it was against Luton, not you.
Yeah.
When they come and drew at your place 1-0. Was it when you got they were? I think the handball was at Luton, wasn't it? When they played Luton, that handball they got Luton for an equaliser.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought it was against you.
Yeah,
It's not.
no.
Go on. So you were saying?
So, I was looking at, two situations. The first one was Burnley. And of course, we was 2-1 up, and Jay Rodriguez scores that goal. Now, firstly, that was a decision which, could have cost Andoni Iraola his job, which, thank God it didn't, because he's gone on a fantastic run.
Yeah, done well.
But they took 7 minutes over that decision, and surely
7
VAR,
minutes.
7 minutes, 7 minutes.
That's another problem. See, I really, since VAR's come into fruition, I think it's not been changed. So I think that the IFAB protocol on VAR needs a total revamp. Revamp. It's got to be, in the Premier League, we've got to bring in automated offsides. Got to. I know the clubs voted against it, but that will speed the game up as well. And I think when we're looking at decisions, or you're looking at incidents, or you're looking at offside, listen, automated offsides, that clear up everything straight away. Subjective decisions, if you're taking more than one or two looks at it, then it's not a penalty, because we're at the moment we're being too forensic. We are too forensic. And if you're looking at an incident 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, then how's that a clearing office error? It can't be. So if you're looking at it that long, you'll find whatever you want to find in that incident. Mm-hmm. And the other thing that I'm, listening to Howard Webb on mic'd up on these shows. He's got a very, very tough job of being control of the referees, but it feels to me that the VAR is leading the referee. So he's already telling the referee that what he thinks and what's happened. So that's in his mind straight away. When referees go to that monitor, they've got to be mentally tough, mentally strong. So if they don't agree with that decision, stick with your original decision.
Yeah.
Stick with it. Right or wrong, you'll get far more respect from everybody in football if you stuck with your original decision, because you can hear them. The VAR in his ear is when we hear the chat going on. VAR is leading the referee, so he's already made his mind up before he's got to the screen. So effectively, the VAR is re-refereeing that game. We need to hear the conversations in full between VAR and referee. As I said, the fans are just as important. So we need to hear, if the broadcasters can hear it or hear the conversation between VAR and the referee, but they don't hear the referee to VAR, then the fans should be hearing that.
Yeah.
So as I say, they're just as important as anybody else. So in the stadium, they see VAR check going on, they should be able to hear what's going on. Yeah. And obviously that can't happen unless the IFAB agree it. So
I completely agree, and it happens in rugby, where people can actually hear what is going on. So it would make sense in football if there's a big decision. But the other one, which is a bit of a strange one, is in our game against Nottingham Forest. Of course, Nottingham Forest were reduced down to 10 men after Bale was sent off. Now, personally, if this was a Bournemouth player who was sent off for this, I'd be fuming. But because it was a second yellow card, VAR couldn't intervene. Whereas if it was a straight red, that without doubt would have been chalked off.
I think on those, that's why I said VAR needs a total revamp.
Yeah,
it needs a revamp, We need to look at listen. They can look at yellow cards if it's mistaken identity, but they can't look at yellow cards and cautionable offences because of the protocol. But I think on that situation, when it's a second yellow card leading to a red card, then I think they should be able to look at it. And as we said, it was your player. Was it Smith? Who was the player?
It was Smith who was tackled by Bale.
Bale
won the ball.
The other way around. It was when I got the message from, obviously, because I work on BN Sports, which is a football channel with Richard Keys and Andy Gray, and they sent me the clip because I was watching the game they were showing. They sent me the clip, and I thought it was Smith that was being sent off. Yeah. When I saw the clip, because he trod on him accidentally. I mean, it wasn't. You could argue it was a yellow card to Smith, not to Bolly. And so when they told me it was Bolly sent off, I think that it was a clear error, because it was a great challenge, and it was Smith that came in late and trod on Bolly. But listen, it happened so quickly. But Rob Jones, the referee, was in a great position, and referees at that level should be recognised in those challenges. But going back to VAR, yes, on those situations, when it leads to a red card, VAR should be able to look at that second yellow card. Yeah. And with that situation, if it was in the protocol, they would have definitely recommended a review, and that would have been, and he would have looked at it and he would have said, "Oh no, I've made an error there," and he would have wiped out the second yellow card. But obviously you can't, and then Bolly ended up missing that game. But going on from that, the FA there should be a ruling, where in other leagues in Spain, in the Liga, you can appeal yellow cards, but in England you cannot appeal yellow cards. Now that's a prime example where the FA just second yellow card, they just write, that's it, it's banned. But with the disciplinary department, they should be looking at that. The club should be on at the FA to put it into their rules to say, listen, we should be able to appeal yellow cards if it's a wrongful yellow card. If it's wrongful, like that one was, and to say until the FA change their rules on that, you cannot appeal on yellow cards, but you should be able to, especially in situations like that. The FA should look at that. The FA should look at that and say, sorry, Rob Jones has made a clear and obvious error there. That was never a second yellow card, and say, right, no suspension. No suspension, because he missed most of that game. He missed most of that game because he was sent off for a second yellow card.
Exactly. And I think that really, and again, playing devil's advocate, I was quite happy that we got the win. At the same time, it's not fair on Nottingham Forest, really, that they had to play that length of time with only 10 men through something that
through an error. Through an error by the referee. His interpretation of that challenge wasn't correct.
The whole rules really do need a bit of a change, really, don't they?
Well, the rules, obviously, you've got the laws of the game and the FA rules. So that would be the FA rules need to look at that and change that you should be able to challenge a yellow card if it's a wrongful dismissal, which this was clearly a wrongful dismissal for a second yellow card.
Well, there has been quite a lot as well being made about two referees who have joined the Premier League. And to be honest, I don't really like how much has been made about this, because we've got our first female referee in Rebecca Welsh.
And by the way, she's refereeing our game on Saturday.
Is she? Excellent. Do you know what? I never even checked that.
Yeah,
I never even checked that.
She's the referee for Saturday's game.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And then we've also got, for the first time in 15 years, our first black referee in Sam Allison. I don't like, the way they've painted this, because at the end of the day, those referees have got to that position in the Premier League by being good at what they've done.
Yeah, and absolutely. It's a long way. It's a long path to get there. And listen, I'm with you. You're correct what you're saying. They're referees. Whether whatever they are, they're referees, and obviously they've come through the elite refereeing program. So I'm sure there's other referees out there as well that deserve a chance. So let's hope they do it. they give chances to, because it does need refreshing. We do need to get referees through quicker, good natural ability referees through quicker, and obviously they've come through. They've done well. They deserve their chance. And let's see how they do this weekend. Let's see how Rebecca does at QPR.
Yep, definitely.
Because that is a massive step up, as you know. It's a massive step from refereeing in the Football League and jumping into the Premier League. There's no hiding place in the Premier League, as we've seen recently, as recently as last night at Anfield and Newcastle.
One thing I'd like to throw in your direction, though, because of course with VAR and decisions being overturned, referees seem a little bit more nervous to make decisions. Of course, there is those errors, and they get pinpointed out, and there is no hiding spot. But there is also that reliance on VAR. Every decision is under the spotlight now.
Yeah.
In your day, Mark, you had referees like yourself, Graham Paul Durkin, Mariah Rennie.
All excellent referees.
Exactly.
Referees. Yeah, we didn't get the errors that we're getting now. I think the problem we've got is that the referees now are not making a decision. I think they are relying too much on VAR. I think they've got to forget about VAR, forget it's there, just go out and referee what's in front of you and make the decision. If it's a clear and obvious error, then VAR will then get involved. And we've seen that last night. There's a lot of arguments, with Jota, the way he's gone down. But when you look at it, there was contact. There was contact from the Newcastle goalkeeper, although it minimal. Not enough to make him go down. So, Andy Taylor's made his decisions. Give the penalty, rightly or wrongly. That's what you want to see. That's what you want to see. VAR won't get involved, and that's where we need to look at the protocol again. VAR won't get involved because there was that initial contact. As I said, albeit minimal and not enough to make Jota go down in the manner that he did, VAR will not get involved in that.
But because, when VAR wasn't around, you had to make those final calls. You would get them either, 90%, 99% of the time, Mark, you'd get them right.
Yeah,
There
absolutely.
would be the odd 1%. But you was able to manage it, with the rule book in mind, rather than having to rely on a bit of technology. And I think even, from what I've seen of Championship football, some of the Championship referees are better than those in the Premier League at the moment.
Yeah, listen. I wouldn't disagree with you, because they're allowed to go out and referee. They ain't got. They make the decisions there and then. So they either give it or they don't, and that's what you want. When we're looking at big decisions or we're looking at penalties, when I was refereeing, it comes to you straight away. You looked at it and you replayed it back in your mind. Yes, that's a penalty. And normally you'd say bang, penalty, or you go, well, that's violent conduct or serious foul play. At the moment, you do seem to get that little bit of indecision. And I think listen, when I referee, there's a couple of times I'd love to have had VAR to get me out of the mire. But listen, it is what it is. And I think if you look in the Champions League, it works very well because they have the semi-automated offsides, and they don't really get involved on minimal contact, things like that. So I still think there's a lot of work to be done within the Premier League and with VAR. It comes from the leadership and direction of the PGL management. There's still a lot more work to do to iron out these inconsistencies we're seeing week in, week out. 1 week we'll see a holding offence given, and then the following week we'll see another holding offence that was worse than the one the week before not given. And that's the problem we have. That's where we get all the fans, the fury from all the fans, and the even the managers now coming out saying, well, we don't know, you don't know from 1 week to another what you're going to get. You just don't know. When do you ever hear Roy Hodgson, who's been in football at the top level for many years, when do you hear Roy Hodgson ever come out and complain about a referee's performance. I've never in my time, I've refereed Roy's teams many, many times. I've worked with Roy over in Doha with BN Sport. Lovely, lovely man. And now Roy's coming out. Even, he was an advocate of VAR, but he's not now. He's not now.
Back in your day, you was able to make that decision, and without that thought in your head, is this right? Is this wrong? That self-doubt.
I used to think about it for a couple of minutes. I hope I've got this right, and then obviously you'd soon know at half time or full time if you got it right or wrong. You had the old manager banging on the door. I remember giving a penalty at Man City Villa one afternoon, and it was Martin O'Neill was in charge, and his sidekick was John Robinson, and Villa winning 1-0. Just before half time, I gave a penalty to City because the keeper come out and clattered a City player. And walking down the tunnel, I knew they were waiting for me because they hide right down the bottom of the tunnel so they don't see you. And they give me a right volley of abuse, a massive volley of abuse. And I just told them where to go, as you do, can't say it on this show. And got into my dressing room, and about 2 minutes later, there was a knock on my door. John Robinson came in and said, "John, I don't want you coming in." "No, Mark, no, I just want to come in and apologise. We've seen it. It's a clear penalty. So apologies from myself and Martin." And so I went, "Thanks very much, mate. No problem at all. Well done. Thanks for coming in." But they know straight away. Do you know what I mean? That's at full time or half time and full time if you've made that error, or if you're going back out. I remember giving a penalty. It was Man United Everton at Old Trafford, and it was Phil Neville. He was playing for Everton.
Yes,
obviously he'd gone, and I'd awarded a penalty to Man United in the first half, and he had a right go at me. I said, "Phil, listen, I can only give it as I see it, and for me that was a penalty." Coming out for the second half in the tunnel, he's come up to me, "Mark, we've seen it. It was a penalty. My apologies." So listen, it is what it is.
Exactly. Before I let you go, we do this with all our guests. And of course, it is an opposition preview show this time, not about...
Go on yours!
Yeah. How do you reckon it's going to go?
Listen, I hope we can... I think we can, we'll step up. We need to step up. I think it'd be close. Listen, I'd love to... I've got to say a QPR win anyway. I can't say a Bournemouth win. So I've got to say a QPR win.
Well, I think it's going to be... do you know what? I think it might be a tough match.
Well, I would imagine you would rest some of your players. So I imagine you'll put in some of your fringe squad. I think some of them will come in and play. I don't think you'll play your full team. And listen, I wouldn't blame the manager for not doing that, because today it's all about staying in the Premier League, and I'm afraid that's what it's all about. And with your fans, you've got this small fan base. I think Bournemouth have done a tremendous job. It's for me, I love to see people like yourselves doing well and climbing that table, because what you've got down there, you've got 12,000 maximum stadium.
Yeah.
You can't pay the big money that some of these other clubs are paying their players, and it really is, for me, that's what the Premier League is all about. Teams like Bournemouth and holding their own and doing well, and long may it continue. But I hope you get beat on Saturday.
I think what we'll probably do is we will probably change it. But I think we've got, for the first time in ages, a really, really, really strong second string of players.
Yeah. You need that squad of players. You need that squad for the Premier League.
Yeah. So I would hope, we might get a little bit of a cup run. But like you say, the Premier League is priority for us. So I'm going to go. I'm not going to bet against my own team, Mark. You probably expect that. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win.
Well, I was going to go 2-1 for us. If you make lots of changes. Fingers crossed you do.
Well, Mark, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, and all the very, very best for whatever you put your hand to next. Of course, you was on Talk TV the other day as well with Keith Hackett.
Yeah, I'm a regular. We're regular weekly on there, so every week. So, but no doubt you'll be sending me a Twitter message on Saturday afternoon when the game finishes, because I'll be certainly sending you one if we win, pal. Go on, yours.
I look forward to it, Mark. I look forward to it. But, all the very, very best. And hopefully, fingers crossed, everything does look up for QPR. You get yourself out of the relegation zone in Championship.
Yeah, it'd be great.
And start building towards.
Yeah, we certainly got the we certainly got the right manager, I believe, to sort that out. It's just that it's got to be backed by the board. So
yeah, fair enough. Well, thank you so much, Mark, and
all the best.
Probably see you later on in the season.
Yeah, take care now. All the best.
Cheers, and
Bye-bye.
thank you.
Bye-bye.
And thank you, everybody, for joining us on this show. Please remember to hit the like, the subscribe, the bell button below to be alerted to any new videos we do here on Up the Cherries and All Departments. Please do also check out all of our recent interviews. QPR fans, we have had an interview with Steve Cook on this very channel. So please do go check that out as well if you want to find out a little bit more of his career prior to QPR and, of course, Nottingham Forest as well. Do also check out all of our other content on here as well. There's lots of times when I've been speaking about VAR with Mark, so do go check that out. And also we had a full-length interview with Mark as well. So all those links will be in the interview section on this YouTube page. But until the next video, Up the Cherries, have a very happy new year, and we'll see you in the next one.